Welcome back, everybody. Today I am going to be making garbanzo bean patties or tortitas de garbanzos. You could serve this as a crispy fried patty, or you could do what I'm doing today. I'm going to fry them up and add them to a delicious tomato chicken broth. To start, I'm going to make the patties. I'm going to be using two 15.5 ounce cans of garbanzo beans. I'm going to drain them, give them a rinse, and I'm going to remove those little tedious skins from the garbanzo beans. Okay, so now that I'm done removing all of the skins, I am now going to add my rinsed and drained and cleaned garbanzo beans to my food processor. And now I'm going to add 3 large eggs into my food processor, and I'm going to season it with half a teaspoon of onion powder, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, and a 1/4 teaspoon to a half teaspoon of cracked black pepper. Now the ratio of the seasonings or even the seasoning choices are up to you and to your preference. So now that everything is added, I'm going to puree this. I'm going to put this on a low and then work my way up to high over the course of a minute to get this nice, fluffy, and smooth, creamy puree. So just to give you a closer look, the puree is creamy, smooth, and it is thick. So now I'm just going to work with a large nonstick pan. I've been preheating it. I'm going to add maybe a 1/4 cup to a 1/3 cup of oil. And then I'm going to start spooning in my garbanzo bean batter. And this is what I'm going to use to make these delicious, crispy little patties. I'm going to cook these over a medium heat for about 2 to 3 minutes on each side. You don't want to burn them, so be mindful of the heat source. You don't want to cook it too high because you want to make sure the center cooks properly without the outside burning. And you'll know when these are done because they go from being mushy to firm to the touch. So that is a good indication that it is cooked on the inside. So I managed to make 11 in total. This recipe definitely will yield 10 to 12, depending on the size. So these are good to go. You could eat them as is with maybe salsa on top with a side of Mexican rice, but I'm going to make them in this delicious tomato broth. And here's how I do it. So here I have a little pot. This is kind of like a soup pot or a caldero. And I'm going to add a little bit of oil to my preheated pot. And now I'm going to saute a 1/4 of a medium-sized onion that I've thinly sliced and 1 dried bay leaf. And I'm just going to saute this for about a minute over a medium heat. Now I'm going to add 1 large clove of minced garlic, and I'm just going to saute that for about 30 seconds. You don't want to burn the garlic, but you do want to give it a chance to saute with the onion and bay leaf. And now I'm going to add 4 fluid ounces of tomato puree. You definitely can use a puree of fresh Roma tomatoes, maybe 4 medium-sized Roma tomatoes that you pulse in your blender or food processor, but I like to use puree. And I'm going to let that sort of cook out for about a minute, and then I'm going to add 3 cups of low-sodium chicken broth. I'm just going to combine and mix that well, and I will be adding salt and pepper to taste. You could start with a half teaspoon of salt in this and maybe a 1/4 teaspoon of cracked black pepper, give it a mix, and then taste it later for salt. It's definitely up to you. Or you could also use maybe a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half of chicken bouillon powder base. That will definitely give you a nice flavor. So now that everything is combined and my broth has come up to a simmer, I'm going to cover it with a lid. I'm going to lower the heat and let it continue simmering and boiling gently for about 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, you'll want to give it a stir, and you might also want to taste it for anything like seasoning or salt. And then you are ready to add your patties. So I'm going to go ahead and add all of my patties, and actually not all of them are going in because 2 of them have already been eaten. So I have about 9 going into this pot. So now I'm going to add just a couple sprigs of fresh cilantro stems right on top, and I'm going to let this gently simmer for about another 3 minutes, and these are ready to serve. You could even make this a heartier type dish and maybe add chopped potato, carrot, and zucchini or squash to your soup. It's so versatile and delicious, and like I said earlier, these patties are perfect on their own. I hope you give this recipe a try. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.